105.5 KEUN en français on zero. Zang Zank. You are listening to Saturday Cajun Music Show with me, Professor Arceneaux, and I have a special warning. I found this warning in a Eunice newspaper from 82 years ago. This is from the Eunice News from early November 1943. So it's from 82 years ago. And just a very short article. It says, mail Christmas cards now. That's right. Mail your Christmas cards now. And it says Christmas cards to soldiers overseas should be mailed at once. That's what the War Department is saying. And at the time, it was mostly men. I mean, there was women, of course, and our U.S. military always have been. But, at the time, I think it was probably mostly men. So if you had a son or you had a brother or if you had your spouse fighting overseas there and you wanted to send, your guy a Christmas card, the War Department is saying doing it right now because if you mail it now by early November 10th, 1943, the Army Postal Service is saying that is enough time to reach even the most remote soldiers. And if you are the kind of person who still sends out Christmas cards, handwritten Christmas cards, maybe you even do that like letter of the year where you kind of say, in January, little Jimmy lost a tooth and we got a puppy. If you're the kind of person who does that, God bless you. Keep doing that. Not many of us have the energy to keep that up. Most people just maybe post something on Facebook or send out a text message or something like that. And if you are on Facebook and you want to follow me, just a reminder, Professor Arceneaux, 105.5 KEUN. You can follow me there. I'm posting stuff, one or two things per week. Maybe some of the articles that I share with you on the air. That's Professor Arceneaux, 105.5 KEUN on Facebook if you want to follow me. But if you want to be old-fashioned and mail out Christmas cards by hand, then by all means, keep doing that. By all means, keep doing that. And now, today is November 8th, but coming up in just a few days, it's going to be November 11th, Veterans Day, and there's a special program at the VFW Post, 8971. I'm reading right here from the Eunice News, and I think we all know where that VFW Post is. We got the big tank. If you're heading out to Mark and Ann's place, it's going to be on the left. If you're coming back from Mark and Ann's music place or the jam session there, big tank is going to be on your right, and that's Highway 190, just east of Eunice there. And that is going to be on Veterans Day, Tuesday. The public is invited. It starts at 11 a.m. It's open to the public, of course, open to veterans and all veterans' families, and the event is going to be held outdoors, weather permitting, and most importantly, a gumbo will be served at the conclusion of the program. So whether you're indoors or outdoors, you're going to have some gumbo. That's a good day to support the veterans and remember the veterans. And right now, we got some music coming up, and if you're having a good time or want to have a good time, KEUN has what you need. Just a few words from some people who have important things to share with you, and then we're going to get right back to it. 105.5 KEUN en français on zero. Zank Zank. You are listening to Saturday Cajun Music Show with me, Professor Arceneaux. Today is November 8th, 2025, coming up in a couple of days. It's going to be Tuesday. We're going to have Veterans Day. And I'm continuing a little thing I started on the last break. I'm talking about the book Frenchie. Frenchie is the story of French-speaking Cajuns of World War II, written by smart guy, good guy there, Jason Terrio. He lives over in the Houston area there, but he's from this part of the country. He wrote this book where he interviewed hundreds, more than 100. He interviewed a lot of people from the Acadian region who spoke French during World War II. And on the book, which is published by UL Press is going to publish a lot of great books. On page 31, there's a little anecdote here about Camp Blanding. Now, Camp Blanding was in Florida, but there were so many boys from this region who were stationed there that they actually had a drill sergeant who was giving commands in French. I think that's pretty amazing. You got American soldiers with a French-speaking drill sergeant training them to go overseas and fight in Europe or the Pacific. And there's also a little anecdote here by, what's the serviceman's name? Homer Como. That was his name. Homer Como, interviewed for the book, says that there were so many guys who could speak French over at Camp Blanding that they would get together and like to play cards, and they would sometimes speak French with one another. And here's what Homer Como says: "We would like to catch 2 or 3 of them that didn't speak French so we could take their money. I guess the Cajuns could communicate amongst themselves and sort of conspire together to win the game of cards there. Maybe not the most honorable thing to do, but hey, I guess people need something to divert themselves when they're at boot camp kind of thing. And there's also an anecdote here which makes me laugh. It's a little sad, but also makes me laugh. Says on payday, half the guys were broke within 15 minutes shooting craps. So sometimes young men are not the best when it comes to how to spend their money. Okay, that ends a little segment here of Cajun military history, and again, we're doing that in honor of all the men and women from the region who have served in the military or who still serve in the military. We want to salute everyone there, and I just wanted to use that opportunity because Veterans Day is coming up. Wow. And another thing that's coming up is the last play of the season for our own Eunice Players Theater, nonprofit group there. They're doing their last play of the season. It is the Ladies of the Charitable Sisterhood Christmas Spectacular. So just in time for the season. And the performances are at 7 o'clock at night, starting up in a couple of days. Next weekend, the weekend after that, go to the website. That's the best thing I can say. EunicePlayersTheater.com. That's the Eunice Players Theater. You can find it on the internet, EunicePlayersTheaters.com. You can find out about the show times and how to get tickets. I know there's a Sunday matinee, November 16th at 2 p.m. And a lot of local people there, maybe people you've never seen in that particular venue before. You should check it out, and we highly recommend. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we got a little break coming up right here, and then we got a special request for a man from Chaitanya. 105.5 KEUN en français en zero. Zank Zank. You are listening to the Saturday Cajun Music Show. And in honor of Veterans Day, which is coming up in a couple of days, I've been talking about that on the show today. I'm going to play a little clip here. It's a short clip, just maybe a minute and a half. It's from an interview I did with Mr. Cammy Doucet for my book on Cajun radio. A book is coming out next October. From UL Press, but in the course of doing research for that, I interviewed Mr. Cammy Doucet, who's very well known. I think many people listening right now know him. He was a DJ for many years on different radio stations in the area, and also a pretty accomplished singer, and was behind a number of big hits. But when I was interviewing him because I was talking to people who have been DJs and people who worked in Louisiana radio. I asked him if he was in the military because so many people that I interviewed for my book were in the military. And lo and behold, he had a positive answer and also has a connection to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, when you tuned in today, you did not think you were going to hear Professor Arceneaux on the Saturday Cajun Music Show mention the Cuban Missile Crisis. Here it is, a short excerpt from an interview I did with Mr. Cammy Doucet about a year and a half ago. Oh, also, were you in the military?
Yeah, I was in the military from 61 to 63.
Okay.
In the U.S. Army. I was drafted.
Okay.
I was in the Army during
Was that Korean War?
No, I was just in the Army.
Oh, okay.
There was nothing going on.
Okay.
But just before I left, Vietnam started.
Okay.
And I was in the Army when Khrushchev was putting missiles in Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that time?
It was before my time, but I know of it, yeah.
Well, we loaded up our trucks with ammunition, went to Florida, and they loaded up our trucks in these big LSD ships, and we took off and went out in the Atlantic, not far from Cuba, I suppose. I'm sure we weren't that far from Cuba. And we stayed out there. We'd get each 7 days. One crew would go out there for 7 days and come back in. And then another ship would go out for 7 days. And that lasted, I don't know, maybe a month. But then Khrushchev decided that we were going to take the missiles out, and everything went back hunky-dory.
And in the spirit of keeping things hunky dory, we're going to play one of Mr. Cammy Douce's song. Here is his version of One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. A lot of Cajun bands do a version of that. I know High Performance does a version of that, but we're going to play Cammy's version of One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. And in the song, when he's singing it, he mentions vodka. And if I ever do another proper follow-up interview with Mr. Douce, I will ask him, hey, Cammy, why are you singing about vodka? The song is One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. But anyway, it's a good song. Without further ado, I've talked enough. Here we go. Cammy Douce, One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer.
Well, it's a whiskey in the morning, whiskey every night, whiskey, 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 till that broad daylight. Let me go home, vodka, let me walk out that door. Let me go home, vodka, let me walk out that door. I got orders from my baby not to come home anymore. One scotch, one bourbon, one beer. One scotch, one bourbon, another beer. She left me this morning, didn't say goodbye. All she said, if you get blue, just hang that head and cry. Let me go home, bourbon, let me walk out that door. Let me go home, whiskey, let me walk out that door. I got orders from my baby not to come home anymore. One scotch, one bourbon, one beer. Another scotch, another bourbon, just one more beer.
.105.5 KEUN, proud to be on the Cajun Prairie.